How's it going, everybody?
You know who it is.
My name is Sun Wu, and this is not the official OPZ field teased by Teenage Engineering, but it's a concept, as you can see, by Ilya Miskov. He posted this on the Teenage Engineering Discord a while ago, and yeah, it looks amazing. And that sparked my interest for the OPZ field once again. And I know Teenage Engineering kind of teased an OPZ field at SUPERBOOTH last year, but since then we haven't heard much news about it. By the way, if there's a lot of noise around, there's snow falling off the roof constantly, so yeah, there's a lot of snow up here. Anyway, so they teased the OPZ field but didn't give any details, and I think at the time it wasn't really in the making yet. At least that's what it sounded like. But I've gotten some information from a friend who apparently talked to some of the people at Teenage Engineering directly, and they even confirmed to him that the next thing they are working on is a field version of the OPZ, which of course makes me super excited, as the OPZ is one of my favorite Teenage Engineering devices. So I wondered if they might tease it at NAMM, because I was thinking that yes, they just dropped the KO2, but I don't really think they need to promote the KO2 more at NAMM. I don't think they gain a lot from it, because that thing is already so popular and is selling out everywhere, because on social media the marketing is already so strong. So I don't really see why they would have to go to NAMM to further promote the KO2. So if they are not going to NAMM just for the KO2, what else could they be doing? And if they are working on the OPZ field, as I have been told, that of course would be very interesting. I would assume that they aren't done or anywhere nearly done with it yet, because probably a lot of work has to go into making that an even better device. And so I just wanted to actually talk about what I think could be done with it. I've made videos about it in the past, but since having gotten the KO2, I've got some more thoughts about what could be implemented in the OPZ field. So I just want to go through these things really quickly. The first thing in this render concept of the OPZ field that caught my attention was, of course, the small screen on the side. And I think including a screen would be really nice. At first, when using the OPZ in the past, I thought it really doesn't need a screen, but I think having this tiny little high contrast screen would really benefit the OPZ, because it could be useful, for example, sample selection or knowing which synthesizer engine is on which button, and displaying the parameter values. For example, if you have locked something on a step, it could be shown on the display, because only seeing that on the tiny LEDs here can be difficult. And especially if you are sitting outside in the sunshine, if you like to make beats outside, which the OPZ is perfect for in one way, you probably have noticed that the LEDs are barely visible if you're in direct sunlight. And I think that's really a problem for such a device. And I think a small display that has a really high contrast and works well in outdoor lighting would be really nice. Actually, that is one thing that I really like about the KO2, because I have used it outside in the snow this winter, and if you're in the snow and the sun is shining, it's really bright, but somehow this was still very useful and visible. So maybe somehow displaying the elements as it is done here, with the screen that has single elements that are colored and then just a white LED underneath, is just better for visibility and could be implemented in here somehow. For example, these circles could be put around these wheels. I would think that would not just look really cool, but maybe also be more functional. But just like on the render, a tiny TX6 screen somewhere here would also be really nice. I mean, there is a lot of space left. Talking about space, I think the dimensions could be a little bit bigger. I wouldn't mind if the OPZ was the same size as the OP1 and therefore had a little more tactile buttons. For example, these round buttons could be substituted for the buttons they are using on the TX6 as well for the effects 1 and 2. They got little round metal buttons that are probably about this size here. And I think that could be nice. I could also imagine an OPZ more in the shape or form factor of the KO2, or rather taking clues from the construction, because I think this is made really simple and can probably be fixed easier than this one with the ribbon on which all the buttons are attached. This one has a PCB inside, which is probably a lot better to fix. And also I like how tactile and clacky these buttons are. So those are cues that could be taken from here: the display, the clacky buttons, a little more size. I like how the inputs and outputs here are. They feel very sturdy, and I think they could do away with the optional modules. I think the sample module or the line module makes the most sense overall. Line in, line out, MIDI in, MIDI out. Everybody needs that. I think if you want CV, you're gonna use another MIDI to CV converter anyway. Another thing that they got right on the KO2, or rather got half right on the KO2, is the sample management. And I think that would be really nice if they could get that into the OPZ, because the OPZ, the OP1 field, and the OG OP1 are all using this not really proprietary format, but they are using all this format of making drum kits into one file. So you've got one long audio file, or 12 to 20 seconds, and you cut it into little pieces. On the KO2, however, you've got single drum sounds and can then put them on the pads, which I think is really nice because you can just exchange a single sound without having to change your complete kit. And I think that way of organizing samples makes so much more sense, and you can just go through your folders, press sound, and your battery dies. But having single sounds that are not in a proprietary format would make much more sense. It's better for organizing samples and just much quicker to get your own samples in the device and reorganize them. If you just want to change one single sound in a kit, you just change that sound instead of having to change the whole kit. So please, Teenage Engineering, drop the weird system of drum kits and just give us single sounds like on the KO2. But now I come to the point where they, I think, messed it up with the KO2, and that is that in order to get the sounds on the KO2, you either have to sample directly or you have to use their web app to transfer samples. So that makes it annoying again to get sounds on and off, because yeah, it's just one extra step that you have to do. Whereas on the OPZ before, you can just connect it with a USB cable to your computer and it shows up as a drive and you can drag and drop sounds onto it. So I think that they've done right. Don't give it a proprietary app and make it normal samples. And in general, the sample management on the OPZ has to get way better. It was too convoluted choosing each of the slots and either choosing, do I want a synth or a sample in that slot? So that was a bit annoying. Also, there was very little space for samples, so you couldn't even fill all the slots up with samples. So you really had to be careful what you do. And it would be nice if you had the same space that you have on the OP1 field, for example, where you can stuff so many samples in and then have many projects on the go. So that would be really nice. And for that, of course, a little display would be perfect in terms of just organizing your sounds and accessing your sounds, because you can have folders and see the name of your sample and so on. So I really would like a display on there, even if it's just a segmented display like here. It does work a lot better than not having one if you want to access samples. Maybe have 1 or 2 extra buttons here that help you access samples quicker. By the way, this is super unorganized. I didn't plan this video at all. I just came home, I'm out of breath and I'm just rambling, but I hope you get something out of it anyway. And I would also like to hear from you what you would like in the OPZ. Let me know down in the comments, because it would be great if Teenage Engineering can still implement a lot of stuff in the OPZ field if they haven't finalized it yet. So let me know down in the comments, what do you think they should put into the OPZ field? And that leads me to the next point. I would like to have better synth engines with more adjustable parameters. So instead of 2 distinct parameters per synth engine, 4 like on the OP1 field would already be a lot better. And I would love a drum synth engine for the drum tracks. That would be really cool. And then of course the tape track could be improved because since they made the OPZ, they haven't added anything to the tape. So just like you can select different synthesizers for the synthesizer tracks, you should be able to select different types of tape for the tape track. There could be rewind tapes, or for example, tape that allows you to loop while it's degrading, or yeah, just all kinds of glitchy, grainy stuff that would be really fun. And with saturation and such things, I would really like them to implement that. On top of that, put the master compressor from the KO2 in here, because this compressor is just way better than whatever was in here. This compressor was atrocious to me. I never used it. It didn't really work at all. Punch-in effects would be nice if they were customizable in the way that, for example, on the Electron devices, you have customizable scenes. So you could select, maybe here I want to filter sweep down combined with a retrigger or something, and you can just change that in the app to create your own punch-in effects. I would really enjoy that. Other than that, of course, they could improve the speaker, which was unusable. The microphone was quite nice on the OPZ. I've never had problems with that, but the speaker can either be left out completely or just a better speaker in there, like on the OP1 field. Yeah, apart from that, they got a lot of things right. Of course, I love the OPZ sequencer. I think it's really well implemented. It works so quick. I love that you can change track length so quickly, step length, all the step components, all of that stuff is really, really amazing. And that's what makes the OPZ so much fun. It's really quick to play things into it because it has the keyboard separated from the steps. So you can just hold down a step and enter notes on that step. So that's something I really like, and I wouldn't want them to change in any way. I think the fact that it has 2 send effects right there is really cool. Maybe on the master it would be nice if you could choose what type of master effect you want on there instead of just having the chorus on there. So other options than chorus on the master would be really good. Some type of saturation or that kind of stuff. There is some kind of drive, but it's also so-so. The encoders, I never minded them. I think they work really well for what they are, but again, the LEDs are hard to see in sunlight, so I would like them to somehow have a better indicator for that. Maybe the LEDs that were in TX6 also, they do seem a little bit brighter. I've never used them outside, but that might be something to look at. So again, to sum up, better sample management, more sample space, no proprietary formats, and showing up as a USB disk, maybe a drum synth, more tweakable synthesizer engines in general, a display for better visibility of the parameters or going through the menus in general, and maybe a bit bigger layout. That's all I'm hoping for. And once again, let me know down in the comments what you want to see in the OPZ field. I'm sure I forgot a lot of things that I've written down before. As I said, this is very spontaneous, so there are probably many more things I will remember once I've got this video done. But also what I want to know is, are you still using your OG OPZ? Because I've been neglecting it for a while now, although I love it so much, and that's just because the sampling is so bare bones in here. I really don't like the sampling. That's what gets me down every time, because I'm a fan of sampling, which is why I like the KO2 so much. So if they just improved the sample side of things, this would just be so good already. And that's what I'm really hoping for. And yeah, one reason I'm not using it as much right now, but it definitely still is my favorite sequencer, and I hope they make a second version of it. Teenage Engineering, if you see this, thank you for your service, and we are looking forward to the OPZ field. And also thank you to Ilya Miskov for inspiring this video by making this beautiful render of the OPZ field. And yeah, all you gearheads, have a nice NAMM time. I'm actually so oversaturated with gear right now that I'm not so excited for NAMM at the moment. other than the OPZ field, of course. But yeah, I've just had so much gear recently, too much gas, that I don't think I need a NAMM at the moment. But of course, Teenage Engineering is hopefully delivering anyway. So I'm really wondering if they will actually tease anything about the OPZ. I don't think they have anything close to a finished product yet. But again, as I said, I don't think they would go there just to promote the KO2. I might be wrong, but I think they will drop ever so slight hints maybe to stir the rumor mill up even further. I'm certainly hoping for it. I will keep my eyes peeled and check out the NAMM coverage. And with that being said, thank you very much for watching the video. Again, very spontaneous, so there is no script and it's very stuttery, but I hope you enjoyed watching anyway, and I hope to see you in the next one. Until then, have a wonderful time. Peace.